Hello and welcome to Transfer 101. This is all things transfer. And I'm Courtney Topolsky. I am the Assistant Director of Student Retention and Transition Services. So today's objectives are to understand why you should earn your degree before you transfer, becoming familiar with what we call our three-step process, knowing some key information, learning about resources, and having some basic information about financial aid scholarships. And I will certainly allow time at the end to answer questions. So 5 reasons you should complete your degree before you transfer. And the first is cost. CCBC is a fraction of the cost of most of our local universities. Time, save yourself some time by taking classes with us. We often offer classes at a larger variety of times and locations than our university partners. You'll have a marketable credential, you'll have a degree. So if something happens, you've got that degree. Completion benefits, a lot of our partners will honor more of your credits if you have a degree when you transfer, and you may be eligible for scholarships. And then there are additional opportunities available to you because you have a degree. So you may be eligible for internships or co-ops or things like that. So we say we have a three-step transfer process, and the 3 steps are explore, prepare, and apply. And so the very first part is exploring, and we recommend that you do this between 0 and 20 credits. And you can do this a number of ways. Right now with Connect Fest this week, you can talk to some of our partner schools at our Connect Fest. March 11th through the 14th, we will have our transfer fairs where we'll have 40 to 50 schools on campus. You can ask questions there. You can do on-campus recruiter visits. We post those on the CCBC website when schools come to visit to talk with our students. Usually they're in a very similar place across our different campuses. And then Transfer Tuesdays, which are the first Tuesday of the month. We also want you to explore our Degrees to Succeed partnerships, and we'll talk a little bit more about those in just a moment. And then for out-of-state schools, we want you to do a web search to determine which schools have your major and do some outreach for those schools as well. So what are things that you could consider if you're looking for a college or university? The very first thing is, do they have your major? CCBC has over 100 majors and programs. We have more majors than a lot of universities. So you want to make sure that the university you're looking at has the major you want to study. You need to look at the location and you need to look at the size. For some schools, small schools are the right fit. And for other students, they want to go somewhere like University of Maryland, where you need to take a bus to get across campus, right? It's a huge, huge school. Some additional considerations, of course, are going to be your cost, what kind of financial aid and scholarship opportunities you have, if you're eligible for housing as a transfer student, if you want to participate in athletics, either as an athlete or as a fan, what type of campus life do they have? Who do they have internship opportunities with? Are there graduate programs available to you that you could accelerate and finish your master's degree within a year of finishing your bachelor's? And you want to make sure that they have accreditation. Most accreditations are going to be regional accreditation, but you want to check that. So example, for CCBC, we are accredited by the Middle States, and you just need to check because not all schools have that accreditation. It doesn't mean that it's not a good school, but it means if you go there and you don't like it, it's not likely that your credits will then transfer to another institution. So Degrees to Succeed, I mentioned a moment ago, it is our newest partnership. We've started this just 2 years ago, but really full force, I guess you could say, this past fall. And it is a dual admissions program with CCBC and 8 different partner schools. You get a co-advisor, so you have your advisor here at CCBC and an advisor at the university. You are guaranteed access to academic supports and student resources. You'll transfer as a junior. And again, there are financial incentives, including having your transcript fee waived from CCBC and your application fee waived for your partner school. Now, what you need to know is this is designed for our transfer degrees, so our AAs, our ASs. If you're in a program that says that it's an Associate of Applied Science, like dental hygiene, information technology, business management, then you really should talk with your advisor if your plan is to transfer and see if there is a major with us that's a better fit or which schools have secondary agreements with us. So once you've done that first step, your next step, of course, is to then prepare. So you want to meet with recruiters, you want to attend transfer open houses. I know we just posted one today for University of Maryland College of Engineering. They're having an open house coming up, and we want students to go and learn more. You want to research the deadlines for admissions, for financial aids and scholarships, and for housing. This is really important. CCBC does not enforce a whole lot of deadlines. Universities do, so you need to be planful. You want to make sure that you're doing your FAFSA each and every year as well. So once you hit that 45 credits, if you're not in Degrees to Succeed, we want you to apply to 3 to 5 schools. If you are and you've already picked your school, then we're going to help you make that transition pretty seamlessly. You want to make sure that your schools are on the FAFSA. If a CSS profile is required for your school, you want to go ahead and do that as well. That is an additional financial profile that a lot of the private schools require. You want to make sure that you're applying for scholarships and that you request your official transcripts. Now, this is something that many students find as a snag. You need to you need to request your official transcript from CCBC as part of your application. And then once you've accepted your enrollment and you've finished your degree at CCBC, you'll need to send your transcript again. So again, if you're part of Degrees to Succeed, you won't have to pay those transcript fees. You do need to send your transcripts from everywhere you've attended. So if you started at Baltimore City Community College and then you came to CCBC and then you went to Towson for a while and now you're back at CCBC and you want to end up at University of Baltimore, you have to send all of those transcripts. In addition, you need to send your documentation for any credit earned through prior learning. So your CLEP, DSST, advanced placement, international baccalaureate, military transcripts to the receiving school. So you need to then, once you've been admitted, you need to review the admissions offer. You need to see what the deadlines are. And there is a deposit that you have to pay to accept your admission. What you need to know about that is it is usually not refundable. It normally goes towards your first semester tuition fees. So it's not costing you extra money to go to that university unless you don't go there because you don't get that money back. And it's usually several $100s. So we do want you to make sure that you're talking with your advisor regularly here at CCBC, that you're using DegreeWorks. So when you log into your MyCCBC, it's on your degree audit, that you're checking your progress. You do need to apply to graduate with us. We don't know that you're done unless you tell us you're planning to be done. And again, have that final transcript sent. Once you have accepted your admissions, you want to make sure that you schedule to attend orientation at the university as soon as you can possibly attend it, where you usually will get advising and assistance with registration for your first semester. So some key things to know. If it is a general education class at CCBC, it should transfer to any of the public schools in Maryland. And so those are schools like Towson, Coppin, Morgan, University of Maryland, Salisbury, Bowie, Frostburg. So anybody at UMBC, any school that had state in its name, because Towson used to be Towson State, and anybody that is University of Maryland at. Okay, they can transfer, or they will transfer up to 60 credits, but no more than 70. And again, this is if you're doing an AA or AS degree. As I mentioned before, we have transfer programs and we have career programs. So our transfer programs are those AAs, ASs, AFAs, ASEs, and AATs. And these programs really are designed specifically to transfer. So again, we want you to be talking with your advisor. I can't say that enough. It shouldn't just be a once a semester to register. You should be popping in, talking to them every couple of weeks about your plans. If you are in an AAS program, as I mentioned before, this is not designed to transfer. It's designed to give you skills to go to work. So many programs designated do have bachelor degrees in the same fields, but not all your classes might transfer because we're trying to give you training to go to work. So you really need to talk to your advisor or one of the transfer retention transition coordinators about how your classes will transfer. There are lots of resources, and these are all off of our transfer website, so CCBC Online Transfer. So you can certainly use all of these. And these are different ways, too, that you can request your transcript, look at resources, look at your transfer guides, request fee waivers. And again, all of these links are on our website. As I mentioned before, usually the FAFSA opens October 1st every year. This year it had quite the delay, about 3.5 months. But from this point on, every year, October 1, you want to put a little reminder on your calendar to pop up to do your FAFSA. What's important to know is that if you're Pell Grant eligible at CCBC, you would be Pell Grant eligible at the university, but you're going to get the same amount of money. And so because the university is much more expensive, you need to plan for how you're going to make up that difference in tuition and fees. So you want to look at the costs, the process, and the deadlines. For most schools, they will have something called a cost of attendance, and you want to look at that because it's going to give you an idea of everything you would need to pay to go to school. Now at CCBC, if you look at our cost of attendance, we've included food, we've included transportation, so you can also just look at the tuition and fees. As I mentioned, the CSS profile is done by College Board. It is the online application. It is for non-federal financial aid. It's usually done for private schools, and there are about 400 colleges and universities across the US that use this in addition to the FAFSA to determine your financial aid eligibility. Some quick information about financial aid. I am by no means an expert. If you go onto our YouTube channel, which is CCBC Transfer, some of our previous presentations are on financial aid where you get to hear from the experts. I encourage you to look at those. But federal Pell Grants are need-based, federal direct loans. We have direct student loans. And subsidized is based on financial need, and unsubsidized is not. So what that means is if you have a subsidized loan, you don't accrue interest while you're still in school. But the moment you stop, you start to accrue interest. And then federal work study. So CCBC has federal work study jobs. You can actually work right on campus with us, and you can work 15 hours a week. And you can look at those off of our career services page. But most universities have a number of federal work study options as well. So the Maryland Higher Education Commission also has their own need-based grants, legislative scholarships, goodness gracious, careers, occupation-based, and or unique population grants. So you want to check out their website, and most of their awards do have a March 1st deadline. So that is right around the corner. So we don't want to have that go by. There are also 2+2 transfer scholarships and the USM Maryland Regent scholarships. So again, you just want to go on our website. We have a link to all of these things so you can see what other types of scholarships you might be eligible for within Maryland. If you're going out of state, these scholarships do not transfer with you out of state. These are for Maryland residents who are going to take classes in Maryland. Some institutional scholarship information. Many colleges offer their own transfer-specific scholarships, and quite honestly, I go on their websites and I search scholarships or transfer scholarships. I don't use any magic. It is that straightforward. Many scholarships may require a specific number of credits or that you've completed your associate's degree. They may be merit, which is grade-based, or they may be need-based, or both. Most will require your FAFSA to be on file, as we've mentioned before. Some will require the CSS profile, and you need to make sure that you submit all your deadline by the required, or all of your paperwork by the required deadline. If you don't, you may not be eligible for scholarships for that semester. The other thing to know is that many institutions give scholarship money out for the fall. So if you transfer what we would consider off cycle, if you transfer in for a spring semester, there may not be as many scholarship dollars available. There are lots of financial aid scholarship opportunities through private scholarships. The Jack Kent Cooke Undergraduate Transfer Scholarship is one of the most competitive and prestigious scholarships in the U.S. Students who get this scholarship are able to have their college tuition fees, room and board paid completely by this foundation. And we've had several students from CCBC be able to take advantage of that. We have the Udall Undergraduate Scholarship, PTK, if you're in the Honors Society. We have the American Association for Women's and Community Colleges, and many more. So again, these are on our transfer website. You can go in, click the links, and look. So some things, scholarship amounts can vary. It could be $300, it could be $30,000. Some scholarships, as I said, are merit-based. So the better you do at CCBC, the more likely you may be to get money at the university, while others are based on your financial need. Many scholarships are geared towards specific groups of students, such as underrepresented populations, including women and minorities. So, for example, at UMBC, they traditionally have had scholarships for women in technology. Um, there are also scholarships available for people who are veterans or military affiliated. And also, there may be scholarships available through your work or your family's place of work. There are lots of scholarship search tools out there. You can really use the one that, or all of them. You can do as much as you want. Just be prepared to spend a lot of time answering similar questions when you go online to fill out any of these. We do have ongoing events. Like I said, the first Tuesday of every month, we'll do Transfer Tuesdays, and these are virtual. We do have our transfer fairs coming up, so March 11th through the 14th. March 11th is at Catonsville. The 12th is at Owings Mills. Wednesday, the 13th is at Dundalk, and at Essex on Thursday, the 14th. That same week, we will have Baltimore County College fairs. Those are designed for high school students, but if they're work better for your work schedule, they'll be in the evening. We will have the Baltimore County College fairs at Catonsville on Tuesday night, the 12th, and at Essex on Wednesday night, the 13th. You can follow us on social media to learn more. So we are at CCBC Transfer Planning on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter X, and YouTube. We're CCBC Transfer. And I'm going to stop the recording and see what kind of questions you have in just a moment.